Let's get right into the topic of today, anti-Semitism, one of the many forms of prejudice and discrimination. The United States is a nation that greatly values individuality and acceptance. We do not tolerate sexism, we do not tolerate xenophobia, and we do not tolerate racism. Yes, there are many in our own nation that do not hold the same ideals. That's inevitable. But we should focus on those problems so we can overcome them and become unified. Let's focus on one of those problems right now. We're going to be addressing anti-Semitism and the IHRA. Let's start with that second one. The IHRA stands for International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. The IHRA has created a working definition of the other point we addressed, anti-Semitism. Their definition is the following. Anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred toward Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed toward Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and/or their property, towards Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. The majority of us will most easily be able to relate this definition to the Holocaust and what happened during that time. While the Holocaust marked in history the corrupt nature of anti-Semitism, which is simply put as prejudice against Jews, anti-Semitism remains. Not only does it remain, but it appears to be growing around the world with drastic effects. Vandalism to synagogues, destruction of Jewish cemeteries, and violent threats to the Jewish people. These things and much more continue to happen. And while we see mainstream media report on these things, they miss a few key details. The media channels often take anti-Semitism as an opportunity to focus on the attacker rather than the victim. Rarely will the examples of anti-Semitism be presented without them placing blame based on their own bias. This not only distracts from the real problem, but also ignores necessary efforts to combat anti-Semitism. This definition provided by the IHRA also highlights the strong correlation between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. The definition provided is accompanied by 11 contemporary examples of anti-Semitism, one of which is denying the Jewish people their right to self-determination. Refusing the Jewish people the ability to have a Jewish state within Israel is what anti-Zionism is, and directly opposing this is a prime example of anti-Semitism. The Holocaust proved that Jewish culture is under social and political attack, so a Jewish state as a refuge can foster peace and unity. We are a world that is promised to unify and move past the immoral actions of our history. Yet it seems like we have shifted into reverse. Educating others about anti-Semitism and the corruption that it advocates should be a priority. This is why we should work to adopt the definition of anti-Semitism provided by the IHRA. This can be done in places such as organizations, universities, and enterprises. Anti-Semitism is an international problem, which means we need international awareness to help and change. Tolerance and acceptance are fundamental necessities in a diverse world. There is simply no room for prejudice or anti-Semitism.